Oh, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our last episode of the year, episode 15 of our Saturday morning tech live show. Like always, if you have questions, feel free to ask them, and we will. It doesn't even have to be on the current subject matter, which is fine. I'd like this to be an open forum. Just post them in the comments, and I will address them. So anyway, last episode of the year. It's a good time to reflect on the year past and what's coming up in the future. And I think I'll do a bit of that in this show. Anyway, so I would have really liked a conclusion to the horrible experience one of my senior citizen clients had, but it's still an ongoing situation, and at this point, I think it's worth mentioning the company involved, because you know what, mistakes happen, right? But what's really important is what action is taken after those mistakes occur, right? So anyway, just to recap for some that haven't been following the episode, I think we started this in episode 12. No, 13, 14, 15, yeah. Anyway, so it's been ongoing for 3 weeks now. So my customer, she had a problem on her computer. I couldn't fix it remotely for her. So as we do always, I find a place that the customer is comfortable with, or a service that the customer is comfortable with, to get them some on-site support when we cannot do that, which happens rarely, but it does occur. Sometimes that is the situation. So for this customer, being senior, I really wanted to go with what they were comfortable with. They bought their computer originally from London Drugs in Lethbridge, Alberta. And personally, when I lived there, I was always happy with the service, so I didn't think nothing would be an issue. All right, so I told my customer, okay, give them my phone number directly, tell them to call me before they do any work, and I will make sure that they take care of you properly. So she did that. She gave them my phone number, and the techs decided that they were all knowing and knew better, and that they didn't need to consult with me, being her regular tech, right? And this, unfortunately, sometimes happens in my industry. Sometimes we're a little bit too ego-filled. Anyway, whatever the motivation, at the end of the day, what happened then is that my customer really should have only paid for about a half an hour's work. That's all that needed to be done. They did find the problem on their own, and they did fix it on their own. That, granted, that's fine. But then they went and did all kinds of other things that the customer didn't need. And so a $40 call turned into a $120 call. And then on top of that, they recommended she buy some Norton antivirus software, which is like the worst product on the market for antivirus software, because they couldn't recognize the actual security software that she had on her machine. Or maybe they did, and they just were, interested in making a sale. Or anyway, my customer and myself feel that London Drugs in Lethbridge, Alberta, has taken advantage of this senior citizen. I have talked to them in person. My customer, I believe, has also talked to them in person. I emailed customer service to maybe get the corporate entity involved in resolving this issue, and still no response. And I realize it's the holidays and all that, but if you're in customer service and a customer comes to you with a problem, right, you need to respond to that, right? The no response it's unacceptable, right? And so anyway, unfortunately, unless this situation gets resolved, I definitely will not recommend anybody do any tech stuff with London Drugs, particularly in Lethbridge, Alberta. And we'll just leave it at that, okay? If there's any further updates to that, I will follow through. And, the reason I spend time on this is that these kinds of failures in service, right, actually, they don't help, okay? In today's world, I feel very strongly that businesses and even residential customers, particularly seniors, right, need a human being, a human tech on their side and working with them on a regular basis so that they can avoid these issues, right? And that's why I'm so frustrated, because, that was the intent, right? To avoid those issues, to avoid having to pay things extra for stuff that you didn't need and whatnot, right? I don't have one-off relationships with customers on purpose, because I want an ongoing relationship, a trust relationship, so that when I make a recommendation or I say, well, maybe we should look at this or look at that, it is based in a history that I have with the customer. I know what's going to work for them, what's not going to work for them. I know what's happened in the past, if we've had any trouble with the computer before, right? I know the people that have been using the computers. So all that stuff I can make relative, recommendations, right? If you have a computer and you wait and you have a problem and then you just call some random person off the street to come and help, you know what? I'm sorry, I've been in this game, right? And you come in, you go on site, there's expenses to that and all that stuff, right? And you know what? While you're there, right, you might as well make the best of it and sell whatever you can, right? And unfortunately, now when I did this, I only sold stuff to customers that they needed, right? But I can't say that would always happen, right? It's a tough business, tough industry, right? It's expensive, lots of money involved. It's important to have a trust relationship with your tech, and that's what ITHive.org is out there to achieve, right? So upwards and onwards, and we'll leave that one behind, and maybe in the new year we have a more positive result and end result to that. But we'll just talk a little bit about 2018 and some of the things that we plan on hopefully rolling out this year. I'm going to work really hard. Just a shout out to my customers. There is a referral rewards program, right? You do get rewarded, save some money on your tech expenses if you refer a customer. Okay, so you've been with me and you don't leave, so there's a reason you like to stay. So talk to the people you know, okay? And I'll reward you for that, because we need to grow. There's room to grow. I've got no problem. I will always give you guys outstanding service. If I have too much work on my plate, then we'll get other people involved. And so, but moving forward, so all those things will help, right? Because, I'm putting lots of resources into this, but I need to generate more revenue to make it all work. And that means more customers, more seats. So if you got questions about that, ask me, and I'll help you understand how that program works. So, I'm thinking for a long, long time, I've been wanting to develop an app or some kind of smartphone technology that will enable and allow us to communicate in real time with my customers, because that's always a difficult thing, right? People are busy. I send them an email or whatever. You got a problem, you get this, and then nothing happens, and it's very time consuming, right? But I'd really love to enable that communication in my customers' hands with a smartphone, where they can see in real time, okay, yes, there's something that needs attention, book an appointment, get it taken care of, right? And any other information they might need. So I'm hoping that in 2018 that we can make progress on this. And I have some resources in mind. some skilled folks that I think can get the job done. But we'll have to see. So that is the big goal for me for 2018 smartphone app. So hopefully it's an interesting world now. You know, Apple, of course, is making it even more difficult to develop smartphone apps now, and more expensive to develop smartphone apps, and that's really, really frustrating. You know, and that's the reality of today's economy, right? You know, it favors those that have the resources, and but you know what? I'm determined to get it done. So we'll get it done. What we need is resources and customers. So referrals, people, referrals, right? And if you don't feel comfortable referring the people that you know, right? Well, you know what? Talk to me and explain to me why that is, right? Because maybe there's some further improvements we can make to what we're doing, right? Just because we're doing something today doesn't mean we're going to do it tomorrow. So I'll just reiterate again, if you're a customer of mine and you don't feel comfortable referring your friends or other business owners or stuff like that, then talk to me why that is, right? Because then there's an opportunity for improvement there, and we got no problem with that, right? Always continuous improvement is always going to be what happens here at ITHive.org. So feedback, you know, is good. Okay, so anyway, you know, it's the end of the year, and I don't want to drag this on any further, so I've babbled on enough. I hope everybody has a safe New Year's Eve, and if you're going outside and you're brave, dress warm. I think I'll be staying inside right by the wood stove for New Year's Eve because it is so cold. Anyway, all right. We'll talk to y'all in the new year, and have a good and safe time. I hope everybody had a great holiday, and here's to 2018. We'll talk to you later. Okay.